It's a day ending in Y, which means someone has leaked a bunch of GTA 6 information again. This time, it's about the in-game websites that we'll see in GTA 6, and I can tell you right now that if Rockstar manages to pull this off, GTA 6 will be the most hard-hitting satire of modern internet culture that we've ever seen in a video game. But today's video isn't going over one single leak. No. Instead, it's a whole downpour, a river of rumors, speculation, as well as legitimate leaked files, all presented in the form of a ranked list going all the way back to 2018, so you guys already know that you're about to get the full A to Z timeline of GTA 6 leaks right here. And we're kicking things off here with the bottom tier, which is honestly not that bad when you consider the fact that GTA 6 leaks are so prolific they have their own wiki page, but many of these rumors are still more open to speculation than a stock market bull run, so I'd advise you guys take this info in this tier with a giant grain of salt. Like, for example, the idea that GTA 6 will be the first game in the series to feature procedurally generated building interiors, allowing for pretty much every building to be enterable without significantly hampering developer resources that could instead be used on more complex handcrafted mechanics. This particular idea stems from a patent filed by Take-Two Interactive where it details how games can generate unique assets on the fly simply by inputting certain keywords into an advanced render engine that modifies its output based on changing requirements. Like, for example, it can take a shiny, well-maintained suburb and turn it into an old, worn-down neighborhood by adding characteristics like cheap, rusty, or stained. And what's interesting is that it can apparently do this with clothes as well, so NPCs will no longer look like they're all swapping between the same 5 or 6 clothing styles. However, this is highly speculative, of course, which is why I've placed it at the bottom tier. The new dispatch system is also something that's interesting in concept, but should be taken with a healthy dose of skepticism because, if true, it will completely revolutionize how cops work in GTA. See, up until now, every single illegal deed you committed was tied to a predetermined wanted level, and like a meter, it would climb as you piled up more and more crimes. Cops would spawn in out of thin air, out of the player's sightline, because it's much easier for the game devs to design encounters when they already know where the player is and where the cops will be. Same goes for GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, where even the animals can act as witnesses, which is why you can shank someone in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, and still have the entire LSPD spawn on top of you as if they were hiding behind the bushes, giggling amongst each other, just waiting for you to pull out your weapon and commit a crime. But based on some of the leaked gameplay clips from 2023, we can see that witnesses have different levels of awareness to your presence, and they can also collect information on your character, like what sort of clothes you're wearing, what weapons you're using, what car you're driving, and so on. Then, there also appears to be some kind of timer on the screen before cops are dispatched to your location, which means that you're allowed to prepare for the upcoming assault, and if necessary, you can even threaten witnesses or take people hostage to prevent them from reporting you to the police. I also saw this post going around on Reddit a few weeks ago where people were talking about the water physics of GTA 6 and how it will supposedly be the most realistic water physics ever seen in a video game. And as cool as that sounds, it's likely a load of crap because the source for all this info is simply rehashed news from a Rockstar Mag article about the new Rage engine, originally published on October the 18th of 2023. However, the next leak in the bottom tier is hopefully not as full of crap as that Reddit post because it comes from a renowned games journalist and even industry veteran Jason Schreier, formerly of Kotaku, now working for Bloomberg. And in a 2020 article for Kotaku, most of which is spent talking about the new post-crunch company culture at Rockstar, Jason hinted at the prospect that in order to reduce stress on staff members, management might go with a new approach for the GTA 6 release. Basically, what he said is that they'll target a more moderate map size on launch day, which will then be expanded over time with DLC updates to include new explorable zones and maybe even new cities. Is this entirely implausible? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, it sounds like something Rockstar could do with the new version of GTA Online as they add more places and new maps over time, potentially expanding the map or adding new points of interest over time. But based on what official info they've released so far for GTA 6, I wouldn't call the new map size moderate by any means because it's ginormous and it contains 6 separate explorable zones. Of course, we have Vice City, Leonida Keys, the Grass Rivers, Port Gellhorn, Ambrosia, and Mount Calaga. Okay, let's talk about the mid-tier leaks now, and these are, for the most part, confirmed at this point, so we aren't doing any major speculation here. But during my research, one thing that stood out to me most was the March 6, 2018 leak published by a YouTube channel called The Know. These guys have now been acquired by Insider Gaming, but if you go back and watch their video, they claim that their info comes straight from an insider source, likely someone who's close to a developer, and we know they got a lot of stuff right. First off, The Know claimed that GTA 6 was being developed under the codename Project Americas, and this was confirmed confirmed later in 2022 when we got the infamous teenage hacker leaks with over 90 gameplay clips being posted on the official GTA forums website. These were all copied straight from Rockstar's internal servers, and each file name began with the heading Americas. The note also predicted that GTA 6 would return to Miami, or in this case, Vice City, which is of course Rockstar's parody of Miami. One more thing that they mentioned is that you'll be able to fly between Miami and South America because the game prominently features elements of the South American drug trade, and while this cannot be confirmed just yet, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility for a game like GTA 6. Funny enough though, the No's inside source at Rockstar, whoever it was, predicted a release timeline of 2021 to 2022, which, as we all know in hindsight, was nowhere close to the actual release date, so that was the only part of the report that was massively off target. Everything else they said was pretty much on point, and this was all 5 months before Red Dead Redemption 2's release, so whoever their source was, they were legit and definitely close to the dev team in some capacity. The next leak on my mid-tier is going to be a Reddit post from all the way back in 2019, just 1 year after the No made a video on GTA 6, and this person, whoever they are, claims to have been a QA tester for both RDR2 and GTA 6, and they claim that GTA 6 began early production in late 2014, just 1 year after GTA 5's release. The person also revealed that they were doing their testing using a PS5 dev kit, and as we now know, based on trailer 2, GTA 6 is going to look absolutely stunning even on a base PlayStation 5, because that's what Rockstar used to record all of their footage, and it was in-engine as well. Anyway, this person went on to claim that during the development process for Red Dead Redemption 2, because of the insane crunch and increasing studio pressure to add as many immersive and realistic elements into the game as possible, the devs were in a state of mental disarray and many had lost their morale to continue onward. Basically, RDR2 was the most ambitious project that Rockstar had developed to date, and while it was a Rockstar magnum opus at the time, it was sorta, kinda also treated as a test mule for next-gen technologies that would go on to be used in GTA 6. Rockstar knew that GTA 6 wouldn't provide enough of a leap from RDR2 because that game had already pushed the PS4 and Xbox One to their limits, so they need to wait for a new console generation, and in the meantime, they could test and refine the team's abilities to work on a technical masterpiece by getting them to create new rendering engines and gameplay systems for RDR2. The leaker claims that GTA 6 will use a more developed version of the skyboxes and volumetric clouds found in Red Dead Redemption 2, resulting in a jet flying experience that is truly otherworldly. If true, this would also have a huge impact on how we do dogfights in the next version of GTA Online. The leaker then goes on to say that GTA 6's map is so big that it will make GTA 5 look like a schoolyard playground, and that's why Rockstar is going to put a lot of emphasis on air travel in the new game so you can get around quicker. There's plenty more to talk about with it. I'll put the full post on screen, and you can also look it up on Google, but the most interesting thing that this leaker mentions here is that there will be two major cities, Carcer City and Vice City. Right now, we know Vice City will be a thing, but Carcer's unlikely to be included in the game. I mean, maybe as a DLC add-in later, sort of going back to the other leak, I don't really know. The leaker also talks about the Florida swamps, which we know will be included in the game as grass rivers, and this will essentially be a current day version of the Bayou from RDR2, but bigger and meaner. Another really big detail in this wall of text is the QA tester's observation that AI is now capable of splitting into highly coordinated groups and flanking the player from multiple angles simultaneously. AI cops will also have a buddy communication system where they call out moves and tactics to each other, and you're supposed to react based on these audio cues. Riot shields and tear gas were also mentioned here, but we'll see how much of the stuff actually makes it into the final product when the game releases next year. But based on this leak alone, it seems like the Reddit poster was definitely part of the early QA testing team, as they got a lot of key details right. And now let's talk about some of the more boring leaks from the early days of GTA 6. Remember when the QA tester on Reddit claimed that early development began all the way back in 2014? Well, in July 2017, stunt actor Tim Neff did an oopsie by putting GTA 6 and RDR2 on his resume. Then, on December the 25th of 2017, a mocap actor, George Consejo, also put GTA 6 on his resume. Of course, it was later retracted, just as it was in the case of Tim Neff, and both actors claimed it was a mistake. But by now, you should be able to piece together the facts, and the facts indicate that GTA 6 was in early development even before RDR2's release. Then in 2022, we've got yet another report from Jason Schreier, only this time it was more focused on GTA 6 rather than Rockstar's internal dev culture, and Jason also repeated the claim that the game had started pre-production all the way back in 2014, and he's also said that it would have two Bonnie and Clyde inspired protagonists, with one of them being a Latina, which we now know to be true, so good job Jason. However, Jason wasn't the first to report on the female protagonist, because in 2021, Tom Henderson, best known for his Call of Duty leaks and insider information, had claimed that GTA 6 will have a series first female lead, and also said that he didn't expect an official announcement until 2023, and a release for another 3 to 4 years. And I'd say he was right on the money for both the announcement and release dates, at least before Rockstar changed the release date to May 2026. To round things up in the mid-tier here, let me quickly mention a TikTok video posted on December the 3rd of 2023, in which the user pans the camera around to show some gameplay footage of Vice City in GTA 6. The leaker also mentions 3 major cities, 4 sub-cities, and a giant lake in the center of the map. Possibly the most interesting thing about this leak, other than the video itself, is the highly probable theory that the leaker is none other than Aaron Garbutt's son. If you don't know who Aaron Garbutt is, he was a part of Rockstar back when they were still called DMA Design, and he's currently the head of development and co-studio head at Rockstar North. So yeah, that's pretty crazy to see right there. Moving on to the S tier for the more spicy stuff, we have to start the rankings with the now infamous Teapot Tuber hacker leaks from September of 2022, in which an autistic 18-year-old hacked into Rockstar's internal servers using nothing but a hotel TV, an Amazon Fire Stick, and his cell phone. And he did all this while on bail for hacking NVIDIA, which is why he didn't have his laptop with him, but apparently that wasn't enough to stop him from leaking 90 pre-alpha clips of GTA 6 all over the GTA forums, along with several screenshots. Apparently, he also broke into Rockstar's Slack channel and threatened to release source code if they didn't contact him on Telegram. A year later, for causing millions in damages to both NVIDIA and Rockstar, he was sentenced to a lifetime in prison via detention in a secure hospital until doctors decide he's no longer a threat. Our second S tier leak here comes from an account called GameRoll on Twitter and YouTube in June of this year, when he posted a whole bullet list of gameplay systems that we might see in GTA 6. Why should you believe him? Well, on April the 19th of this year, a whole 2 weeks before trailer 2, GameRoll said the names of the protagonists would be Jason Duval and Lucia Caminos. Now, we already knew their first names before trailer 2, but nobody knew their last names except GameRoll and his source. GameRoll talks about a lot of things in the June 2025 leak, but the things that stood out to me were the claims that driving is the best it's ever been in a GTA game and the return of a 6-star special wanted level. We'll also see the return of the greet and antagonize system from Red Dead Redemption 2, along with limits on weapon carrying, an actual weight system for our protagonists, lots of gore and dismemberment, again, built off Red Dead Redemption 2's dismemberment system, as well as enterable shopping malls and skyscrapers that have their own elevators. And finally, to conclude this list, the last S tier leak is going to be the names of the in-game websites and apps that we got via TezFun2 on Twitter just a few days ago. These include names like WhatUp, which is clearly a reference to WhatsApp, RideMe, which is probably going to be a rideshare service similar to Uber or Lyft, and BuckMe, which many are speculating will be some kind of OnlyFans website. If the game is going to have a ride sharing and on-demand transport service like Uber, honestly, that would be kind of crazy to see it compete against the taxi system, as that's been a thing in every GTA game throughout the 3D era, and it would be kind of sad to see a competitor take its place in utilization when you're playing the game. But that's all I have for this ranking video. Let me know which leaks you find the most interesting, and I know I missed out on a few of the more minor leaks, but these are definitely the most important ones that I felt were worth covering, at least the ones that weren't complete BS. Also, if you guys found this video informative and you like the information, make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and you want to see more GTA 6 content like this in the future. Check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushtv. I do a lot of GTA Online live streams over there, and it's basically the GTA 6 waiting room. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios, amigos.